Today we're going to talk about Jiri Pavlenka of Czech Republic, whether he's good enough for Chelsea and whether the club should go for him. But before we continue, please smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and more importantly, click on the bell notification button so you don't miss anything. So, let's get into business. I have with me Nii Zion from BLUEClOUDS TV. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective, my neighbor.
Thank you, Coachila, for Chelsea Perspective fame. It's always a pleasure to be on the platform and talk to the world and the viewers that love football across the world. Nice to have me here again, one more time.
Absolutely. You're always welcome here. It's always good to talk football with you. And like I said again, welcome, my neighbor. I'm stealing your your tagline, but that's by the way. So Nii, let's get into business. Why did you scout Jiri Pavlenka?
Well, I scout Jiri Pavlenka because apparently Chelsea are looking for a substitute goalkeeper, a second trusted goalkeeper who can come in and fill the shoes of Kepa Areizabalaga. As it is now, Kepa Areizabalaga have difficulties in the Premier League since we paid the huge price tag for him, 70 million for. At that time was the most expensive goalkeeper. I don't know if he's still the most expensive now, but at that time he was the most expensive goalkeeper in world football. But we've realized that his statistics and then his ability in the Premier League hasn't come to flourishing or hasn't really been impressive for Chelsea Football Club and then the entire Premier League as well.
I mean, you could argue that he's been good of late. I mean, he's not been that bad. He's put in some great performances that you could argue actually, although Mendy has played more games than he did, but Mendy has actually conceded more goals than him. He's kept, I think, percentage-wise, if you try to compare them, like I said, Mendy played more games, but it looks like Mendy has conceded more goals than Kepa did under Thomas Tuchel. His struggles seem to have been under Frank Lampard. Under Sarri, he was good. So do you really think we need another goalkeeper?
Absolutely, we do. We need another goalkeeper concerning the African Cup of Nations will be coming here soon. And then Mendy will be going for almost a month, depending on how long the competition goes. If Senegal have to be able to play well to get to the finals, it will take him about a month to be gone. And remember, when they go out for these competitions, they don't just come back and jump into the starting lineup. They stay home for almost about 2 weeks, relax himself, and then come back to the club and also start training with the club because it takes a lot of time and effort of training whilst they are away. So yeah, it is as statistics proven that Mendy is Kepa Areizabalaga is a keeper that cannot stop shots from long ranges. And then I scouted Jiri Pavlenka. He's a good shot stopper when you come to that aspect of football.
Yeah, I understand your point, and the truth is, yeah, definitely Mendy will be leaving for AFCON come January. It's usually like the AFCON competition usually hosts in January, right? And that's a very crucial period for the club. If he leaves, yes, we have a problem. That means we need another goalkeeper. Okay, are you suggesting Jiri Pavlenka as the person to be the number? Clearly, I think that's what you're doing, but I'd like to hear it from you yourself. Yeah. You're suggesting Jiri Pavlenka as the, let's say, the first choice in the absence of Mendy. You want him to be starting over Kepa Areizabalaga. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm suggesting. Jiri Pavlenka can come in and fill the shoes of Eduardo Mendy, because comparing the percentage rate and the clean sheets that Mendy have kept for Chelsea, which is about 56.8%, that gives him 99% ratio compared to what Jiri Pavlenka is going to give us with Chelsea.
We'll still come to Pavlenka's statistics, but my question is: are you suggesting that Jiri Pavlenka should come to Chelsea, as in the absence of Mendy, he starts over Kepa Areizabalaga? There is a problem with that, and I'll let you know why it's a problem. The reason why it's a problem is this: the club would want to sell Kepa to at least recoup some of the money they spent on him. And he still have like more than 3 years or so left in his contract, or let's say 3, at least. I'm not sure how many years that he has left in his contract. So he's a pen, literally, he's a pen in the neck, on the neck of the club. They want him to go away, and it's not easy for him to be, for you to get a sizable fee in his sale. If you want to sell him, he'd have to be starting games. So I'm thinking, in the absence of Mendy, that's the opportunity for Kepa Areizabalaga to start games and still prove his. Because the truth is, he's good. We don't know what happened under Frank Lampard. He started, he had that bad stretch of run. Yeah, exactly. So should Mendy would definitely live for AFCON. I see the club asking Tuchel to please start him, because £70 million is not a chicken change. They would want him to play games so that to up his value and get a sizable fee from his sale should they decide to sell him. Because right now, I say this: if they try to sell him, I don't think they will get even £30 million from his sale. So remember, there are games, high-profile games, before the end of the past season that we didn't expect him to start, that he started. So that means probably the club, in some ways, are pushing for him to start games so that his value will go up, and they'll be able to recoup some amount in his sale if they want to sell him. So I don't know. Do you still think Jiri Pavlenka will come to Chelsea to play second fiddle to Mendy and not start games? Because he will ask that question. I might come in to even to deputize for Mendy is a problem too, and let alone playing 60, sitting on the bench for Kepa Areizabalaga to start games. So what do you have to say to that?
Well, this is what I'm gonna say about this whole thing. Right now, I understand you have to. It depends on where you're coming from and how you see the whole Kepa Areizabalaga saga. Right now, if you're a coach, Coachila, I'm gonna ask you that simple question. I'll answer your question with a question in a way. If you're a coach, would you like to play a player that is not going to help your team, or are you going to play someone because you have to play him and be able to have a good market value on him and to be able to sell him? Comparing that, you have big competition coming on and you don't really trust that player. I hope you're going to. It depends on how you're looking at. I'll let you answer that question in a bit as I continue with the segment. I understand. Right now, Kepa Areizabalaga values 14.5 million right now. This young guy, it's values just $6 million. He would not come in, depending on the clause that they put on in his contract. If he has to come to Chelsea. He's not gonna come in and want to be a starter right away. Depending on what I think what the coaches or the goalkeepers trainer sees from him before they bring in, and what they see from him even on the training pitch. Look at the goal that Chelsea conceded in the FA Cup final. That long range from Euro Tillemans. Kepa Areizabalaga could not stop that goals, because what I say is this guy is left-handed person, and anytime the ball going to his right hand side of the pole, he's trying to use his right hand, and he always comes short. Those are the things that affect our goalkeeper. But this guy has a long reach that can stop almost every ball in that kind of range. That is my main reason why I think that talking about performance wise, if I was a coach, I would go in for performance, not just for a resale value. But then I understand that Chelsea hierarchy have invested a lot in the Kepa, so they want him to have game time to be able to have a good resale value on him. But at the end of the day, it will cost you.
Honestly, I have to tell you the truth. I am amazed at the answer you gave. We have to be objective, and I agree. Your points are clear, very strong, powerful points, powerful argument on the reason why the club should go for Jiri Pavlenka. And there's also why some people argued in that FA Cup final that had Kepa been at least an inch taller, that he could have reached the ball.
Absolutely.
But then again, you have to also look how in the world did Jiri Tielemans get the chance, get that space to take that shot in the first place. We saw what happened. J5 was pointing to somebody to go take care of him. And by the time they realized what was happening, he had the whole space to shoot. So in the first place, Jiri Tielemans shouldn't have had the chance to take that shot. But that's by the way, and we all can agree because we saw the close shots of the goal. Had Kepa been taller a bit, he would have reached it. He would have reached the ball. We agree. But that's by the way. Let's come back now and start looking at things the way.
Well, I'll jump in real quick. I'll jump in real quick, Coachila.
All right.
And this is what I'm going to say. Yes. Football is being played for 90 minutes and over. Players play for long period of time. They cover grounds, not just as much as goalkeepers do in the goalpost. So
yes,
in every minute they have to be alert. No matter what you do, shots are going to come from different angles. You can't block every single shot that is coming in the air. You can't do that.
Thank you. Good point.
So keepers have to stay on their toes and alert to be able to block every ball. What I think that Kepa did in the pool was that he had all the chance because Chelsea had good defenders that were blocking and blocking. But how long can you block? It's just like you playing with a good team that plays possession football and you playing a low block. You're playing a low block team and they sit in defense and defend. You're sucking pressure on you. But how long can you defend? That's the question. So Kepa, I don't blame the midfielders or defenders as I'm blaming Kepa that he has to see that ball coming and block it at all time.
Yeah, I had to make that point because you seem to say it was strictly Kepa's fault. But the truth is, if I were the manager during that game, I'd also see things from because the whole thing started from not pressuring Jiri Tielemans before even he had the chance to take the shot. But that's the point I was trying to make is that I was going to ask you, how tall is Jiri Pavlenka? Let's see if it's taller than Kepa Areizabalaga. If he is taller than Kepa Areizabalaga, then there's that chance that he would have stopped that shot had he been the person between the sticks on that day. So how tall is Jiri Pavlenka?
Well, and if you convert it to meters, Jiri Pavlenka is 1.96 meters, which would be approximately about 6.6 feet.
That should be around 6'5".
Yeah, okay, 6'5". Yeah, and then Kepa, in my meters, I haven't done the conversion rate. I don't know. I know probably you've done it. It's Kepa is 1.86 meters. 1.86.
So he's shorter,
way shorter than Jiri Pavlenka.
Okay, that's by the way. Okay, let's take this. Let's look at this from another perspective also. I think I've talked about it when I was asking you. I think the second question or so. Jiri Pavlenka is a Czech international, right?
Absolutely, Czech international.
And he is their #1 keeper.
Yeah, #1 keeper. He plays for #1 keeper and also the #1 for Werder Bremen in Germany.
Great. Werder Bremen is also a great club, and Czech Republic is also a great country. They have good. You could say a great footballing nation. They are always up there. So the question is, as a Czech international, do you think Jiri Pavlenka would risk coming to Chelsea Football Club knowing that there's that possibility that club might be pushing for Kepa to start ahead of him because they want to get a sell-on value should they get a chance to sell him? Because the truth is the club would most definitely be looking to sell Kepa. And do you also think he would risk coming to Chelsea knowing that whenever Mendy comes back from the AFCON assignment, that he will most definitely take the mantle of the number one position. It would be difficult for him to take that. That is, even if he dislodges, let me say, if he takes the place of Kepa Areizabalaga, he will know that it will be difficult for him to do the same to Eduardo Mendy, given his pedigree already at the club. It will be difficult for him to put up such a performance that when Mendy comes back from AFCON, he sits on the bench and waits for his chance. Do you think Jiri Pavlenka would risk that as a Czech international?
Thank you for the question, Coachila. Well, absolutely. We, as a Chelsea Football Club and a big club as it is, you're expecting to have 3 goalkeepers. Right now, we've lost Willy Caballero. Caballero is gone. We're left with Kepa Areizabalaga and then Eduardo Mendy. We need one more keeper to replace, be in the shoes of Caballero. Okay, right now, if I know definitely when contracts and stuff like that are signed, there are clauses that are put in. If the goalkeeper expect to be in the starting lineup right away, or he's gonna take the second row or the third row. Right now, if Chelsea Football Club have to sign Jiri Pavlenka, I know definitely he's not going to come in straight away in the first game, and Jiri will be in the starting 11 if Mendy is not there. I'm sure they would definitely give Kepa Areizabalaga a chance to prove himself, and when things are not going right, that is when Jiri Pavlenka will come in.
Exactly, that's my point. If you can hold on 1 second, that's my point. You said you know that he knows he's not gonna come and walk straight into the first team. The club would most definitely respect Kepa's the fact that Kepa has been in the camp and he's worked under Thomas Tuchel and he's done well under Thomas Tuchel and probably has a better statistic under Thomas Tuchel than Jiri Pavlenka had in the past season at Werder Bremen. So that Pavlenka shows. Thank you for the correction, my brother. So the question is, do you think he will still want to risk it? He knows these factors will come into play.
Well, this is what you also have to remember. There are so many clubs in the world, but then when a Chelsea Football Club calls for you, you know you're entitled to win trophies at every season, no matter what. What is he going to win playing for Werder Bremen? He's just going to have his stats there, but nothing to show off at the end of your career. Your career. Willy Caballero is now a Champions League hero, a Champions League player, a Champions League winner. He has a Champions League medal, but then he wasn't the main keeper for that competition. At the end of the day, he's going to have that medal to show to his kids and family in the near future. So these are things that players, goalkeepers always look at. What some of our young players were in the competition also, and they have the medal, although they did not play. So if I were a goalkeeper, I'll be looking at all these things trophy-wise and then sign for a football club.
I got to say that's a very powerful argument. The truth is, yes, most players will look beyond their international careers. Not most, some players, let me just be honest. Some players, or a few, will look beyond their international careers and look at the possibility, the chance of winning trophies with Chelsea and the chance of moving to a bigger club. I think it happens. And you could say players, if he's confident enough that maybe he will come and take the number one position, who am I to stop him? But that's by the way. So let me ask you this question right now. Do you really deep down think that Jiri Pavlenka is good enough? He has what it takes before we go into his statistics. But right now, the question is a yes or no. And if you say yes, you can find a way to explain why you think he's good enough to play for Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah, I'll say yes. And then he's good enough to come in and then put in a shift for Chelsea Football Club.
Okay, let's go ahead now. I'll give you some time to present his statistics. And let's see if his statistic justifies your argument. If his statistics would justify your argument that Jiri Pavlenka is good enough to play for Chelsea Football Club. So go ahead, Nii.
Okay. Before I go ahead, I want to ask you: do you want me to compare this player to our number one, or you want me to compare this player to what we already have, the substitute goalkeeper, which is Areizabalaga? So I wouldn't.
I think okay. Let's start by comparing him with the goalkeeper that, because should we sign him now, he'd be vying for places. He will be vying for the number one place,
Right.
With Kepa Areizabalaga. So it's better to compare him with
Kepa.
to compare him to Kepa Areizabalaga. So go ahead.
Okay, so looking at what I have here on my screen, it looks like Kepa, it's a little bit ahead of him, based on playing out from the back and also crosses being stopped one way or the other. Kepa is a little bit ahead of him, but when you
did you say in terms of ability on the ball?
Ability on the ball, crosses that comes in the 18-yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, okay, go ahead.
Crosses being, yeah. What I was saying, the stats that I have here for Pavlenka, Jiri Pavlenka, it crosses that comes, and he's about 5.8%, which gives about 28 ratio. And also Areizabalaga has about 11.1% ratio, which is 97 percent. So what I'll say here is, our style, maybe it has to do with our style of play, how we play our ball and how we start playing out from the back. That'll give more opportunity for Kepa to be able to hand on to the ball and play out from the back. But maybe Werder Bremen's style of play will be a bit different. It depends on how Thomas Tuchel train and goalkeeper trainers in Chelsea train the new goalkeeper when it comes in. But when you talk, the most important thing that I am looking at here is shot stopping. Stop shopping and clean sheets. Clean sheet. This guy has lots and lots of clean sheet in his possession. He is a very good penalty stopper also at this moment. So he has about 33.3 percent clean sheet, which Kepa has 28 compared to what he has. That is 38 and 28, which is a bit much more different. And then, like we said, also in the Euros, he conceded five goals in 6 games, which somewhere narrow goes, somewhere 0-0, others were 2-1 and 1-0. So with him coming in as a substitute keeper, it wouldn't be that bad concerning his height also.
So your argument is that his height is a very good advantage to have in the Premier League. But with his height, the crosses that you talked about Kepa stopping, are they on the carpet or in the air?
I think some of them has to do on the carpet.
So yeah, exactly. So even if some of them are on the carpet and some of them are in the air, given that Jiri Pavlenka is taller, shouldn't he should have a better stats in that aspect, because he's tall. He could use high claims. Goalkeepers with high claims, that's good. High claims he could claim the ball in the air and stop crosses, and not just on the carpet. But that's by the way. Let me say this now. We must take into account that Jiri Pavlenka played more games than Kepa did.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Yeah, he played more. He played almost about 360 minutes in the Bundesliga and then the Euro competition at all. In all 5, it was being calculated in all 5 big leagues in Europe, compared to what Kepa has played 675 minutes in all 2020-2021 competition. So yeah, he's played lots of games. And then also this is what we have to look at here. He's a guy that is really good playing out from the back in terms of touches and launching balls to hit your target. He's higher than Kepa Areizabalaga is. Goal kicks, he has a goal kick of 8.32%, which Areizabalaga has 6.65%, which is a player.
In what aspect?
In goal kicks, kicking the ball, getting to your target. When you launch the ball, Yeah, launching the ball and also playing the ball out from from the back, trying to locate your target. He is very good at that, launching a ball and in the long range. So he's not
overall,
that
you're
bad.
saying his distribution is great.
Distribution is great, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he fits the profile of goalkeeper that would do well at Chelsea. And in terms of Kepa usually likes to keep it close. His passes are usually close and on the carpet too. Sometimes if he gets space, he can also launch a good long ball to players. And his pass accuracy, actually, I like Kepa's pass accuracy, and his distribution can be great at times. It depends. So I'm going to ask you this now. We've talked about his statistics. Do you still have any other thing to add to his statistics, or you through with it?
I'll just like to cross it over again a little bit so you can see the difference. The difference that I have here. I have the stats over here on my screen, and we're talking about crosses stop percentage rate for Jiri Pavlenka. It's 5.8%. compared to Areizabalaga, that is 11.1%. That's the difference that I'm trying to bring over here. That where I say that Areizabalaga is better off Jiri Pavlenka in these stats. Also, defensive action outside penalty area. We know how Areizabalaga always come out to do certain things outside the.
Yeah, he's a good. He can be a good sweeper. He can he can be a very good sweeper keeper if need be.
Right, the percentage rate, it's 0.8% compared to Jiri Pavlenka, 0.65%. And also average distance.
In terms of, can I come in there? In terms of the sweeper keeper aspect, coming out to defend, to help the defense and clear the ball or maybe stop the ball and pass it, Kepa is better in that department, in that aspect, right?
Yeah, he is
which is very pivotal to the way we play too, because you can say we do play high line in some cases,
right?
And when you play a high line, it's good to have a goalkeeper who is a sweeper keeper who can always come and help neutralize opponents' attack, opponents' counter attack when they try to go over our defense with a long ball. But that's, by the way. Go ahead.
And then also one of the best stats that Areizabalaga is pulling out here also is the distance of defense actions. The average distance of defense action here is Areizabalaga has stats of 17.6 compared to 14.1 from Jiri Pavlenka. But the most important thing that we're all talking at and looking at over here, that Jiri Pavlenka has more than Areizabalaga, is just two things: is the saves percentage penalty kicks. The save percentage penalty kicks, which he has a 33.3% compared to Areizabalaga, save penalty kicks 0.0%.
In terms of penalty kicks.
In terms of saves percent. It says saves percent.
Yeah, I understand saves percentage of penalty kicks, but you can argue that's not a deal breaker for me. Penalty kicks don't happen all the time.
Right.
So that if you ask me if I'm on the board, I would say no. For that, no, it's not a deal breaker. Okay. And let me ask you this, Nii. Wouldn't you say, if you given the comparisons now, we've compared them, and you agree that Kepa seemed to do well
a little bit, yeah,
in most aspects that we compared them. So overall, would you say specifically that Kepa is a better keeper? Because numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. We have the numbers.
Absolutely, but what we have to put in consideration is the kind of defense that Werder Bremen have, and the kind of defense that Kepa Areizabalaga have, and the number of games that Jiri Pavlenka has played in the whole season. Compare that to Kepa Areizabalaga, who hasn't got much of a playing time, even in the Euros, and then also in the Premier League. If he has had as much as Jiri Pavlenka, then we can have a lot of debate over here. But now Areizabalaga has only 675 minutes compared to 3,060 minutes. So that's a lot of playing time for Jiri Pavlenka.
That's what I'm saying. Given the disparity in the number of games that they've each played, you could argue that if Kepa played more games, he'd even do better than Jiri Pavlenka. You could argue that. You never know.
You can also argue. You can also argue that if Jiri Pavlenka had that number, the best defense in Werder Bremen, he would have had keep more clean sheet and also do more compared to what Kepa has done.
That's a possibility, and I have to tell you, let's be truthful here. It wouldn't. Jiri Pavlenka wouldn't be a bad addition to our squad because we have a lot of games to play.
Right.
And you never know. Anything can happen. You don't go into games with just one top goalkeeper. You have to have at least 2 top goalkeepers, one on the bench, one on the pitch. In most cases, some clubs do have 3. So if anything happens, you have a good replacement. That's fine. He can be an addition to the club. And the truth is, how old is he?
He's 29 years old. 29
years old. And
Pavlenka is 29 years old.
Okay, 29 is fine, and goalkeepers' age is good. The more they age, the better they get. That's fine. So he would. I think, like you argued before, I don't think he would mind. He would mind coming to Chelsea, being part of the team, win trophies, because he'd get more chances to win trophies at Chelsea than he'd have at Werder Bremen. So that's a fine argument. So let's come to his market value right now. What is his market value?
It's a bargain. You cannot walk away from this price. He's just $6.5 million. That's how much he costs.
6.5 million pounds. Absolutely. Or dollars?
Dollars, not even pounds, not euros. That's dollars.
Wow. That's a steal. Let me ask you this: did you watch him in the Euros?
I watched a little bit of Czech Republic.
How was his performance in the games you saw you see that he was in?
Yeah, what I'll say is the defense of the Czech were not that good, but he, like I said, I saw clips of him, and I watched just one game from the Czech. I didn't watch the entire game. I watched the 60 minutes of the game, but then he, like I told you, he is a shot stopper. He stops his long range, stopping shots from long range. If you guys can remember, there was in the Champions League, there was a very spectacular save that Mendy has when he has to dive. The ball was coming to him, but it was coming in slow motion. He has to dive in a different angle to save that ball. He did the same exact thing in the Euro. So this guy has some good attributes, good things that he can provide Chelsea Football Club in the all if they have to sign him.
Yeah, overall, I have to say you've presented a great argument on why Chelsea Football Club should go for him. Statistics-wise, you cannot say he's that bad. He's good enough to be part of the squad. And in terms of his market value, it will be an absolute steal if we can get him. And at 29, I think he'll be looking to, achieve greater things in his career. Right. And I don't think he would say no to Chelsea. And like you said before, there's that lure to win trophies that we have because we're always there no matter what happens. So again, Nii, can you please take some time and give the viewers and the fans an overview why you've decided to scout Jiri Pavlenka and why you think the club should sign him?
Well, absolutely. Thank you, Coachila, for the segment. And also I want to convince you guys, the fans, the viewers, those that are watching Coachila's videos. This young lad, I say he's young because in goalkeeping, the longer you stay in the game, the more experience you get.
Goalkeepers age like fine wine.
Yeah, age. The more aging you are as a goalkeeper, the better you become. We saw that from Petr Cech, Caballero. We saw that from lots of goalkeepers. That Gigi Buffon,
the great Van der Sar.
Van der Sar, Gigi Buffon, who has now signed for Parma, who's been with Juventus and PSG. I mean, everywhere. So yeah. So as I said, this young lad is not coming in and want to fight his way to be in the starting 11. I know Kepa Areizabalaga is there. He's our number one right now. We have to do whatever we can to sell him. But this goalkeeper that I'm recommending for Chelsea will be a good servant for a long period of time, because he is a shot stopper, which Areizabalaga isn't. There's so many little fine things that Areizabalaga cannot keep out of the post. A lot of people will argue that the defense setup from Lampard was not the best for Areizabalaga, or maybe as we're playing now is the best for Areizabalaga. No one knows yet, but we saw another blunder from the FA Cup, a long range that Kepa was not able to save. But I believe my guy that I'm recommending for Chelsea Football Club, if they go ahead and sign him, he will be the best fit to replace Areizabalaga or Willy Caballero, as Willy have already left the club, and we're supposed to have 3 goalkeepers. So yeah, this is the reason why his stocks are good, but some of them are not really comparable to Kepa, because Kepa is really good with his feet, and I know with time he can learn that from Chelsea Football Club, playing out from the back. Everybody can learn it when practicing that all the time on the training pitch.
Nii, thank you very much. And as I said before, you presented a very, very solid argument for the club to look at him. And I like it that you specifically said he's not really coming to take over the mantle of the first goalkeeper. He's coming to be part of the squad. And you mentioned a great point that Chelsea has a lure for players who want to win trophies. And at 29, I think like I said before, he's been looking to achieve greater things in his career, because he's not getting any younger. And then again, we know keepers get better as they age. So Nii, please take some time plugging yourself. Tell the viewers who you are, where they can find your content, and whatever social media that you have presence in, so that they can go check you out.
My pleasure to be a Coachila. It's always an honor to be on the platform and share ideas and talk about the beautiful game that we all love. And then I want to say, guys, if you haven't heard of if you're on Chelsea Perspective channel, you haven't heard of Blue Clouds TV, another great football fan channel, specifically a Chelsea channel, and also, like I said, football fan channel. I basically do more Chelsea, but then it's broad and it's wider for all football fans to join and then have their say if they want to. You can find me on Twitter, BLUEClOUDS TV on Twitter, and Coachila, my brother, will put a link, everything there. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook also, and then Twitter, BLUEClOUDS TV, all caps, BLUEClOUDS TV, all caps. And it's nice talking to you guys as always.
Yes, Nii, thank you very much again for finding the time to present this episode of Scouting for Chelsea with me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on this episode, and you've been great. You presented a very great argument, and you've been sincere with your assessment of both goalkeepers that we have at the club, and also Jiri Pavlenka, who's better, and why you think he will come to the club should the club go for him. Again, people, you can see his Twitter handle on the screen, and I also leave his complete information in the description section so that you can go check out his content, and I advise you to go check out his content. He streams every day also whenever time allows, and his streams are great, raw and truthful, objective, no gimmicks. So I advise you to go check out BLUEClOUDS TV. Nii again, Nii, it's an absolute pleasure having you as always on Chelsea Perspective. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you once again, and I can't wait to do it again next time, guys. Leo Desperados, I'll say hang on to hope. Thank you.